If you are building a customer journey map, so much of what matters comes down to the detail. The placement of a button, the timing of an announcement, some contextual cues based on where your customers are coming from. These are the things that tend to move the needle more than anything else. The catch is it's really hard to predict which of these details are going to matter. And so you really need a way to track and develop these details and ideas and research over time. And frankly, a 5x5 matrix or grid to capture your entire customer journey map just isn't going to cut it. And so this is why I personally use Notion. It's an infinite canvas to capture these rich ideas, and yet we can structure it in a way that is simple enough to navigate. So in this video, I will be walking through exactly how I use Notion, and I'll also be linking a template of the customer journey map that I use for this process. And if you'd like to see how I built this customer journey map template, you can check out the full build video right here. So this is the template that we'll be using. If you'd like to duplicate it, you can follow the link and then hit duplicate in the top right corner. We have a left-hand menu which kind of follows us around through all of the different workspaces. And then we have a map, which is hosting all of the databases that kind of allow us to have this customer journey template. So on this kind of home dashboard, I'm just going to rename this to be demo, but of course you can duplicate this as many times as you want, and you can map out various customer journeys, whether that's for your own business, for a client, for a particular product or campaign. So you can make as many copies and start fresh if that's helpful for you. You're going to see on the home dashboard, it's kind of an overview of the key stages of the user journey, and that's actually where we're going to start. So I head to this stages section of the template, and you can see that it's pre-filled with 5 stages by default, and then a bunch of kind of dummy data that's pulling from other sections. Don't worry about this stuff. This is just to help you see how it should look once it's filled out. We're going to be filling out together anyway. The main thing that I would start with is, are these kind of core 5 stages appropriate to this particular user journey example? So what we're probably going to have to do for this example is get a little bit more concrete. And so continuing on from the first part 1 video, which was showing how I built this template, we're going to actually make this an athletic apparel brand. I can't spell that, so I'm just going to say athletic clothing. So in that case, I probably would want to add a purchase conversion. So I might just say purchase, maybe I say first conversion, maybe let's just do both, purchase conversion. And what I would do is drag that up to be after sign up. So maybe there's a sign up step, which is like join the mailing list, and there's some 10% offer. But the first real conversion that we care about in this business is going to be a purchase, maybe. So again, this is not a step-by-step video tutorial. This is going to be a back and forth. So we're going to sketch some skeleton, then we're going to fill it out with some ideas. And the whole point is that as you bounce around from workspace to workspace, you should be getting more ideas and you should get inspired. So as you are coming up with these user stages, you should be thinking about certain projects that might be relevant. You can link to particular channels that are relevant. We'll go into more detail on each of these and what these are. But right now, I'm just interested in sketching out kind of my current understanding of what the user journey might be. So they come across our e-commerce store, maybe on Instagram, they come across a post, they head over to the website, and there's an offer to sign up to the mailing list. And eventually that will lead into a conversion or a purchase for some people. From there, we might, the onboarding may not be super relevant, or we could actually put that here. So maybe between the sign up of the mailing list, we have some initiatives which are trying to get them to make their first purchase. Maybe the purchase is actually the more common first step. I'm not sure, but let's say we go like this. And then renewal will be another stage where I think we might just rename that to be, second purchase or, reconversion. So after they make a first purchase, they obviously like something about our our brand or our clothing, and we can quite safely make them some more offers. And typically this is a more cost-effective marketing channel. Anyway, so there's going to be some channels that are relevant, maybe email, things like this, and we'll be able to flesh all of that out in more detail. And then maybe a final stage of this particular user journey is going to be referrals. So what would that look like? Maybe we're going to even be so bold as to make it affiliate. The next thing on our list, and I'm just going to go down this list probably to begin with, is to get specific about our customer, buyer, user personas. I'm actually just going to delete all of these and start fresh. So I might have had maybe this is for my business and I am running this e-commerce athletic apparel brand. And so I already have an idea of who my target personas are. There's a persona template in this database. So I'm just going to hit that and it's going to load up some key things like the demographics, psychographics. There's a video covering this user persona template that I can link in the video notes. But let's say that we have one of our personas is Adam. We have another that is a Jessica. And again, so I might know this personally for my own business. Maybe if this is for a client project, we would have formulated these together, or we'd look through the existing purchase data and we would kind of formulate these buyer personas from there. But however you go about developing these personas, you have a space to keep track of it all, add details to it as we go in this personas workspace. And you can see that there's kind of a text version of the things that we care about, like pain points, outcomes, use cases. But we can also link these to the other sections of the workspace using these properties. And then as we go into the goals and pain points, we can actually link to our personas from this view. And it might make more sense because we're in the context of thinking about goals and pain points, etc. So again, I'm going to delete all of this dummy data. And I'm just going to start by start with one of the personas that we have. So let's start with Jessica and let's just brainstorm a couple of goals that make sense for Jessica. So maybe one of Jessica's goals is to get in shape, get in better shape this year, updating their athletic wardrobe because they want to be more inspired by what they're wearing. And so you can see that updating their athletic wardrobe as a goal, part of that might be purchasing an item from us, from our athletic gear catalog. We can link this to Jessica as well. And we can also start to identify some pain points that are relevant to Jessica. So Jessica wants to get in better shape. She wants to update her athletic wardrobe. So I'm already just thinking of some stuff that might be useful. So for example, get in better shape this year is something Jessica wants. How much responsibility do we want to take for that? I'm not sure, but maybe we want to have kind of a blog publication which lists some helpful information. And so it's not a mailing list, but let's say signing up to our health and fitness publication. And so the endpoint for this particular goal is just if we can get Jessica to sign up to our publication and help her with some useful information to get in shape, get in better shape, then that's a win. This would also kind of lead me to think, okay, maybe a project that I would list for this particular business would be to create, maybe that's going to be a product, create a health and fitness publication. So forgive me for jumping around, but to be honest, this is kind of how I would like the template to be used, and it's how I use it. Is the point of linking these different databases and being able to move quite quickly through this side menu is
as you're brainstorming goals and pain points, you should also be able to think about what could we do to help meet those goals more accurately. Pain points, so let's say that the pain points for updating her athletic wardrobe, maybe some of the other brands are too expensive, maybe it's the wrong aesthetic, maybe it doesn't connect with her personality. So these are some pain points that Jessica's feeling, which are getting in the way of her purchasing or updating her athletic wardrobe. And maybe we feel like we could be a better fit and we could help her reach this goal. So we're saying that the endpoint would be to sign up for our health and fitness publication, maybe like more engaging fitness content. Maybe all the stuff that she sees is just boring and she's not interested. Maybe we should head over to the key actions and endpoints so we can just focus on this Jessica persona for now. So we said that signing up to a health and fitness publication might be useful. You can see that's part of the sign up stage of the user journey. Key actions. So this endpoint here, signing up to this health and fitness publication, there might be kind of sub steps within that which are relevant to list. You don't want to go into too much detail and you want to try and keep it to the user journey stage that you're interested in. So for example, the endpoint of signing up to our health and fitness publication. So this is going to be for Jessica. So let's add Jessica to both of these, or finding a mailing list sign up. So spending enough time on the site to feel comfortable. That might be something that has some direct projects and actions that can be related to that. So maybe, linking between articles in a natural way so that people kind of spend more time on site and feel comfortable there, comfortable enough to sign up. And then maybe very specifically, we need to make sure that it's easy for Jessica to sign up to our health and fitness mailing list. So we might just say that that is a specific action. So Jessica actually needs to find the option, and that's going to, again, kind of inform a project, which might be to improve the mailing list sign up UX. Maybe that's experimenting with where the button is. Maybe that's kind of just adding some more opportunities for people to sign up, experimenting with that as something we're aware of. What else? What about making a second order as an endpoint? So these are some other potential endpoints for our e-commerce athletic apparel business. What else might be relevant? Sharing a picture in your new outfit. So that might be an endpoint that we're actually trying to optimize for, which is we want people to be celebrating the products that they just bought and actually post it on social media. Maybe the stage of the user journey, that might be in our kind of affiliate referral stage. Maybe we want to move it to be directly after purchase. And so it's in that, what was the stage after purchase? In that reconversion kind of stage. Maybe that's where we want to put it. I'm not sure. But maybe that is a specific endpoint that we're trying to measure and optimize for. Key actions for that to happen. Again, you can see we can brainstorm what would need to happen in order for them to feel comfortable. Maybe they need to have kind of a little card that comes on their clothing packaging, which has a link to the Instagram, or it has the Instagram and some instructions for how to post a video or some inspiration or some funny joke. And so we could add some key actions that happen between receiving the product and sharing a picture of it. And we could link this to user goals. So maybe actually, what's the users or the customers, what's Jessica's particular motivation for this? Yeah, I don't know, improve self-esteem by posting. Not that that's necessarily going to, by sharing a picture. Not that social media is necessarily going to help, but maybe that's a goal and maybe this is an action that is related to that. If I head back to this kind of goals and pain points, you'll see that there is now a new, there's a new goal, which is to improve, self-esteem, and we can link that to specific personas. So maybe this isn't Jessica, maybe this is Adam. Adam wants to boost his self-esteem by posting more on social media. I don't know. And again, so now we're back here and we're thinking about this goal, and we could list some pain points. So what's getting in the way of Adam posting more photos from his new outfits? Not sure, but we could list them here. I'm also going to start thinking about what would be the specific touch points to implement these particular interactions with the company. So for example, we talked a little bit about signing up to the health and fitness publication. That sounds like it's going to be an email distributed publication. And so there's a pre-built list of the 19 traction channels. You can obviously add to that if you're using other channels to communicate with your customers. But this is just to consolidate and make sure we are aware of which channels are currently active for us. So email marketing would be relevant, and I don't know if we've come up with any others along the way. So we said social media, so maybe that means that we would need to have an active Instagram or social media account in order for them to tag us. And so that would be existing platforms, online communities. So we could just check that. We could also think about where that exists in the user journey. So I might remind myself that we said this was in the affiliate stage. Maybe it's also going to be in the discovery stage as well. That's touch points. Again, as we go through these kind of goals, endpoints, key actions, what are the steps that these customers would be taking on their way to these key endpoints? As we saw before, we can also start to list key projects and campaigns and initiatives that make sense. And not only do we have specific projects, so let's say this was create a health and fitness publication, we can give it a length and a timeline, and we can also add tasks to it. So let's say another task would be to create the blog section of our website. Maybe that hasn't been done yet, and I could link that to the project, which is to create health and fitness publication. So for those of you who are familiar with linked databases in Notion, that will not be anything new. But again, I want to make sure that while I'm brainstorming things for these customer journeys, I do have a way to also quickly dump project ideas and tasks and things that need to get done in a way that I can actually implement these ideas. The other piece of that, other than kind of like projects and initiatives, is content itself. So I find that this use cases section, which we haven't actually covered, so that's a good time to do this now, is an excellent way to brainstorm specific keywords. So we have some goals of our personas, we have endpoints that matter to us, actions that they need to take in the journey, but we can get more specific about the scenarios that our customers find themselves in that are relevant to these customer journeys. So let's just delete this, and we're probably going to recreate it. But one use case for, let's say, John. So John, a very specific scenario John might find himself in that's relevant to us is a New Year's fitness resolution. So he wants to start the new year with a whole new regime, and part of that might be updating his athletic apparel outfit or wardrobe. There's a products list database here, so if you had a specific product offering or maybe a specific kind of catalog, maybe we could add, sweatshirts are relevant for this, sweatpants are relevant. If that's relevant for
your journey map, you can add which products relate to this particular use case. Features list, same thing. That's just where you can get into more detail about those products. So for an e-commerce, you might have products as categories or offerings, and then features might be like specifically this Nike hoodie or something. Again, you can kind of adjust those categories as you like. The main thing that I want to focus on for this particular section is this keywords and content. So John is looking to deliver on his New Year's fitness resolution. Part of that might be updating his wardrobe. And so some keywords that automatically come to mind are like, well, first of all, what is the new year that's going to be coming up? So let's say 2023 athletic gear for men. That might be a keyword. And we might go and research that keyword. So if I head over to the database, we can add the volume, difficulty. I use a tool called Keywords Everywhere, which just lets me search that particular keyword phrase, and below the search bar in Google, it just shows me those monthly volume and difficulty and cost per click and these types of things. So just as a starting point to see if that keyword is too competitive or if it's in a good spot, we could list several different keywords. If there's a promising keyword, we might actually decide, okay, based on this particular use case, we do want to have, New Year's sweatshirts, New Year's fit and comfy sweatshirts for 2023. That sounds like an exciting article, but you can see. So we're in this mode of thinking about specific use cases and scenarios for John, and we can list several for each of our personas. And in the process, we're going to come up with some very specific keywords which are going to meet them at kind of critical moments of their journey. The content is going to show up in this content ideas. So these are topics. These are our keywords which we've made. And unless we give that content piece a date, it's not going to show up here. So if you do add it from this use cases view, so just by adding it into the database, the best way to find it if it doesn't show up is to go to the content database and give it a date, probably a due date. Or you can give it a status. If it's an idea, the type is going to be article. And then it's going to appear in our content section. So we can see New Year's fit and comfy sweatshirts. It's going to also have a date. Doesn't have a topic, but that's fine. So again, you can see that one of the goals of this template is to make this brainstorming and thinking about the customer journey map a little bit more actionable, which for me means being able to quickly link specific content initiatives, product initiatives, design and marketing ideas while we're thinking through the journey. One of the final pieces are surveys, targets, and KPIs and research. Surveys, this is just a database to keep track of any customer sentiment, feedback, surveys that you might run. So maybe, and again, this is linked to the planning of the journey itself. So perhaps after the first purchase, we might kind of have an idea that we want to run a feedback campaign. And so I wanted to click on projects actually. Let's go to, maybe we can rename this to be like customer success. And we might just say, okay, one of the projects that we need to put in place is first purchase feedback survey. So maybe there are some tasks related to that, like write the survey, set up an automation, etc., etc. So we would have a project and we might store the actual survey here, and we could also keep track of any responses and results from that survey here as well. So that's the surveys and sentiment. Well, you can add sentiment as a survey here. You can also, typical in these customer journey maps is kind of a column which is like how the user should feel, the customer sentiment. You can always add that and then put an emoji next to it for each particular stage if you want to. You could also do that more acutely with these key actions and endpoints. That might be a better, more accurate pinpoint place for those kind of customer sentiments. So for example, for these key actions, we could write sentiment and we could make this a selection property. So maybe, comfortable is how they should be feeling at this particular stage or after taking this particular action. So that is surveys and sentiment. Targets and KPIs, I think it's always helpful to have very clear objectives for what you're trying to achieve in the business and linking those back to the journey itself. So, if you have a goal to sign up 1,000 email or have 1,000 email subscriptions in a given period, then it's quite important that you have in your user journey stage a sign up stage, and obviously in the key actions, signing up to the mailing list is important. So this is where you can just keep track of any specific metrics and KPIs and targets for those. And then any research that you're doing along the way. So you might go out and do some research on email marketing tactics, on customer journey stages for your industry. These types of things, you can just store it all in this library. I think that's self-explanatory enough. And I think I will leave it there. That, of course, doesn't mean that it is finished, but the point of this template workspace is that it's kind of never finished. So you always want to be updating your customer journey and adding some details, updating based on the feedback, based on user activity, and just getting more and more refined about the steps that your customers take and how you can delight them kind of along the way. So that's a bit of a condensed inside view into exactly how I go about mapping customer journeys inside of Notion. If you want to use the template and duplicate it to your own workspace, you can follow the link below. And if you want to check out how I actually built this template inside of Notion, then you can check out the video here. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.